Hello and welcome to this Scan Computers webcast. It's the 29th of July 2015 and one of our oldest partners, Microsoft, is having a celebration today because they're launching their newest version of their operating system, Windows 10. Now, what does that mean for you, our customers? Well, for gamers, I think a lot of you guys have been quite excited about what might be coming. But we've got a couple of guys who really do know their stuff, and they're going to talk to you in an interview about what Windows 10 means. We also have running alongside the webcast our live chat room. And if you have any questions, anything you want to know about Windows 10, please feel free just to pop in there, put your question, and our team of experts will try and answer them as fast as we can. So without further ado, we'll hear from Mr. James Ackrig from Microsoft. And the first question we wanted to know was, really, what is the big fuss about Windows 10?
Yeah, so we've been working quite some time on the next release of Windows. As some people are saying, the last ever monolithic release is the phrase I've heard quite a few times. We sort of announced back in January, we had a Microsoft moment, I think was the phrase, where we first showed what we've been working on as regards Windows 10. There's kind of a lot of things going on with Windows 10 that you may not see straight away around security, but you're certainly going to see some of the advances that we've made around user experience, and certainly the sort of application story really comes alive with Windows 10. So quite a lot of people are very excited. I guess the developer team are still a little bit nervous as we just launched the product. So everything's looking good for Windows 10. Yeah, so this will be the sixth release of Windows that I've worked on at Microsoft. And during the time of launching Windows 8 and Windows 8.1, it's fair to say we had a lot of feedback. I'm going to be honest with you, it wasn't all positive. But it was all very necessary as regards the evolution of Windows. When we sort of look at the experience that people were having on touch devices, so the sort of rise of the tablet type of devices, if you've tried to navigate a Windows 7 interface just using touch, it's a very poor experience. So Windows 8 and 8.1 were very necessary to bring a touch experience to the Windows platform. And now what you see with Windows 10 is everything that our users loved about Windows 7, plus all the great advances that we've made with Windows 8 and 8.1, plus even more that we're going to talk about as regards Windows 10 as well. So Cortana is one of those things where we first brought it to the smartphone. And because Windows 10 is now a core operating system that works across smartphones, tablets, PCs, all-in-ones, desktops, even large screen devices, and later in the year even reaching out to the Xbox One and beyond that, reaching to the HoloLens technology, we start to see some familiar experiences coming across, and one of those is Cortana. And probably the best way of looking at why we've worked on Cortana is to try and make personal computing more personal. And so, I've been at Microsoft almost 15 years, and I thought I must be getting to a level of seniority where I should have a personal assistant, and lo and behold, I've got one. Unfortunately, it's a digital one called Cortana, but I'm very pleased so far. We're getting on really, really well. It's voice interaction, so if anybody's ever watched any kind of Star Trek or sci-fi where you're actually talking to the computer and it's doing things for you, this now becomes a reality, both on the phone with Windows Phone, but also now on the PC with Windows 10. One of my favorite uses is whenever I do presentations, I can actually say, "Hey Cortana, remind me to stop presenting in 43 minutes," and lo and behold, I get a pop-up saying, "Hey James, you should stop presenting," which is kind of funny and also a great use of the personal assistant. But it will learn from you as regards what matters to you. It'll understand the contexts that matter to you and so on. And it's very transparent. Like a personal assistant, it has a notebook where you can actually review the places and information that it knows about you and therefore works with you in that more personal kind of way. It's probably one of the things that you need to see to believe, and hopefully we'll get to look at that a little bit later on. Cortana is not just for people at work. It's it's almost like your digital friend. In fact, if you ask Cortana to sing or tell you a joke or even do impressions, I'm not going to say the jokes are funny, but you get another side of Cortana there. So the mystery of what Cortana actually looks like is still out, but definitely worth taking a look at anyway. Users of Windows 10 will still have Internet Explorer. And this is so we can maintain compatibility with existing web development technologies that are out there, plugins and so on. But if we look at the speed of things like HTML5 and the advances of the new JavaScript platforms for web technologies, then Edge is all about maintaining that leading edge, I guess, of making sure that we always have the latest web standards supported, we give the best performance, and also new experiences as well, being able to snapshot a page, being able to annotate that page and share it very, very easily. On my personal experience so far, I found the performance to be outstanding for a browser, so it is definitely a sort of reimagination of what the browser should be as we get towards 2020. The sort of emphasis that we've put around Windows again is the fact that the platform expands across the different devices. So the sort of software houses that we're working with as regards new titles for console will also come to the Windows platform. Indeed, in essence, going to be the same sort of platform. But there's things with the sort of DX12. I mean, some of the early previews that we certainly did some work at the E3 conference, showing some work from our colleagues at Nvidia, and just the depth and quality of the graphics experience, the realism that you're going to start to see there. I think it's going to blow people's minds. And it's not just the sort of the gamer aspect of where we spend our time. People that enjoy music, the sort of new Groove music application in there, the new video applications that are in Windows 10, the new sort of photo sort of applications that ship just out of the box are a great sort of entry level for anybody who's into those creative outlets. And obviously our partners are now leveraging the benefits of Windows 10 to bring new video, audio, and other solutions to the platform as well. But I think gamers especially are going to really love the advances we've made. The connection through to the Xbox platform. We're working on being able to do streaming of games from an Xbox console back to your Windows 10 device as well. I mean, these are whole new ways to be more immersive in your gaming experience. Somebody asked, or we polled users regards who uses Alt-Tab to switch tasks between Windows. Now, I've been a Windows user since the very early days, and I just assumed that everybody would use that, but apparently it was like 6%. And so the ability to switch between applications has clearly caused some confusion for users for many, many years. And with Windows 10, you'll actually see there's a new icon on the taskbar, and this will actually give you a new visual task switcher, so I can see all the windows that are available, but also allow me to sort of snap a window to the side of the screen, and also have other segments of the screen to bring other windows in very, very easily as well. And this is just the start of some of the user experience enhancements that you'll find in Windows 10. Yeah, so multiple desktops well, you can look at it in two ways. For those of us who are fortunate to have a great desktop system at home, we can have multiple displays, and life is wonderful. So we've really sort of enhanced the experience for people that use multiple physical displays. But I'm a mobile worker, and so I tend to find a lot of my time out and about, and I can't really carry another 3 displays with me at all times. And so the ability to have almost like multiple virtual desktops. And so again, through that task launcher, I can add a new virtual desktop. I can arrange different windows to be on those different virtual desktops, and I can switch between those desktops very, very easily. So I get the experience of having multiple physical screens, but just on my mobile device. Continuum well, first of all, it's a great word, right? I mean, how often do you get to use continuum in a sort of technology presentation or conversation? And so if we look at continuum, what does that actually mean? It's about how we actually transition the way we use devices. So there are a number of devices that we call a two-in-one device. They're both a laptop device and also a tablet device. I attach a keyboard, it's very much like an Ultrabook. I remove the keyboard, it's very much in tablet mode. Now the experience needs to change to get the best experience. And so when I have my mouse and keyboard connected to my device, I have what looks like the new Windows Start menu experience, very much driven around mouse and keyboard. All my windows are windowed on the desktop, and I use it appropriately. If I was then to remove the keyboard, Continuum kicks in and it says, oh, I think you'd be best suited to now operate in tablet mode. And so now when I go and touch the Start button, I actually get a much more touch-friendly display. Also, all my windows have now become full size, and it becomes much easier then to switch between those windows. As soon as I reattach the keyboard, I then have an experience that is back down to having windowed applications and also having the Start menu as I would expect. Later in the year, as we bring Windows 10 to phone devices, we're also working on the concept that because now we've got this thing called universal apps, so the same application runs on both tablet PC and the phone. And so now when I take a Windows phone and I connect a external display and a mouse and keyboard, I can get a desktop experience actually running from my phone. And when I launch things like Outlook or Word, because it is the same application, I will get a desktop experience running from the phone on that big display. And then when I lift my phone away, all my data's there, synchronized back to the cloud, so I never lose any data, and I've got the ultimate mobility device. Security is important for everybody. I mean, we spend a lot of time with large enterprise customers really understanding today's sort of cyber attacks, threats, malware, viruses, etc., etc. But this research that we do to secure, banks and large customers, that then cascades down to the benefits of bring every user of Windows. And where we are with security is that it's not just about the software or the operating system, it's actually working more closely with the hardware. So as we upgrade or we use more modern hardware, using things like UEFI, secure boot, we can ensure that Windows is the actual code that's loading when you switch your machine on, not some malicious attack. Also the fact that we actually have BitLocker in the Pro editions of Windows, so I can actually encrypt my disk. So if somebody was to steal my machine and take the disk out to try and get access to my data, I know that it's going to be encrypted at rest on that disk. And so these are things that we started with Windows 8 and continue to enhance in Windows 10, but we're also looking at newer enhancements as well. And so later in the year, you'll start to see hardware that will start to use biometrics as a means of actually logging onto my PC. Even today, PIN codes and passwords are easily observed by people that are looking to perhaps attack your PC. But what if I didn't use a password? What if I didn't use a PIN code? What if it was facial recognition or iris recognition or fingerprint recognition? Then there's nothing for somebody to oversee. The security is down to my biometric signature, logging into that device. And this is partially a technology called Passport, but more importantly, that log-on system is called Hello, which is very friendly. With any biometric technology, it's really important to be able to distinguish between a live subject and a dead subject for obvious reasons. And one of the first things that we looked at as regards any certified fingerprint technologies, can you actually determine live versus dead? This becomes increasingly relevant as you start to deploy this kind of technology. But these are things that we have to be mindful of. I mean, it sounds a little bit humorous, but these are serious matters to consider. And so being able to actually detect a live eyeball for iris recognition, live fingerprint scanning technology are all part of our advances as regards to hardware working seamlessly with Windows 10. So our enterprise customers, they're going to be getting the Windows 10 as part of software assurance agreements that they have with their Windows deployments today. And again, for a lot of our enterprise customers, they've been very happy with Windows 7. I think with the advances that we're bringing to Windows 10, particularly in some of the more depth security technologies, we're working on being able to bring file level encryption to our customers, whereby the files are encrypted to their organization. So even if those files were copied to removable storage, they would still be encrypted to that company. Another aspect that you'll see on TP TPM2 enabled hardware is something called Device Guard. And Device Guard is where an enterprise organization will choose to say, look, we're only going to allow software that has been signed by our organization through some cloud sign-in services to run on these devices. This means that if somebody was to put some software, malicious or otherwise, onto a PC and try and run it, the operating system would deny the execution of that code. We're very public around, the majority of our users of Windows, home users, pro users of Windows, and making Windows 10 available to all of those customers as a free upgrade within the first 12 months. So from when we launch July 29th through for 12 months, you'll have a window to be able to upgrade your PC. You can choose when within that 12 months to upgrade your PC, and then you'll have Windows 10 running on your device there. The great thing about this is now that every Windows user has the opportunity to have the best in security, the best in application experience, and also from a broader picture, the number of developers that are now targeting Windows 10 means you're going to get new and exciting software that you're going to be able to use on those newer platforms.
Welcome back. So we heard there from James all about Windows 10, but we figured while we had him here, we might as well get him to open his laptop and actually show us some of the features he talked about. So here's James actually taking us through a demo of some of the features of Windows 10.
So this is the new Windows 10. The first thing that people ask is, what's the user experience going to be like? And so we've listened to feedback from our customers, and we brought the start menu back. When you see the start menu, it's very familiar to people that have come from Windows 7, but also still familiar with a lot of people that have been using Windows 8 and Windows 8.1. The thing that our customers loved about using Windows 8.1 is these live tiles, seeing exactly what's going on just by looking at the information being displayed and being able to customize this to suit your particular needs. Things that people are familiar with Windows 7, the ability to have things like jump lists, so being able to tap on your files there and move off to other items. We have those back in there as well. And when it comes to actually getting access to all my applications, I can just tap on all apps and they'll appear. Some of the enhancements that we've made now is that if I want to quickly navigate to an application, I can just tap on the letters or the numbers and quickly go to a letter for the name of the application and get access to it very, very quickly. So there are some little enhancements there as well. It's not just the Windows 7 menu brought back into Windows 10. It has been enhanced to provide a much better experience. When I'm working with applications, for example, here's the new universal version of PowerPoint. You see the performance is really good. This is a relatively old piece of hardware, but I've upgraded it to Windows 10, and you can see it's running very, very sprightly. I'm using a touch-based device, but I'm also using mouse and keyboard at the same time. And depending on the kind of work that I'm working on, being able to quickly access my applications here through touch, very, very immersive. Or if I want to use a mouse, I've got that there as well. So what we're seeing here is some modern applications that are designed to use touch, as well as provide a great mouse and keyboard experience. Now, I may be working on a presentation, but I also may be doing some other tasks, maybe some development, maybe some admin tasks. And so switching between applications, I can now just click on the task view, and I can quickly switch between applications. So here I can go to my settings that I was working on. I can quickly go back and go to my presentation. But maybe I want to segment my work. And so when I go back to that task view, you'll also see this option here to create a new desktop. And this is where I can actually create virtual desktops to move my applications. So now when I look at this, maybe I want to move my command prompt to my second desktop. So I can take the command prompt here and just move that to my second desktop. And so now I've got my command prompt on this desktop, and if I use the Windows key and Control and then just move the arrow key, I can move between those desktops very easily and switch between tasks. People that are coming from other operating systems may be familiar with this kind of working, and it's great to see that now on Windows 10. So we've really made that a lot easier when it comes to working with my applications and switching between tasks. One of the other things you'll notice is that Windows 10 working across tablet, PC, desktop, all-in-one and phone. We start to borrow some of the experiences. So here we're seeing the Action Center. So now applications come up and I can get a view of what's been going on. I can get those notifications there and then just take those out of the way when I've addressed them. And some of the quick access to settings straight from the Action Center as well. So familiar for people that are using smartphones, now coming across to Windows 10 as well. So one of the other enhancements that we brought to Windows 10 is a new browser experience. This is called the Edge browser. I'm just going to load that up now. And what we're looking at here, we're looking at the Scan website. The browser is incredibly fast. If we go to another website here, let's just go. You'll see how fast that actually loads. I mean, it is incredibly fast. Compared to other browsers that you may be familiar with, you're going to get great performance and a great experience with the new Edge browser. This complements Internet Explorer, which you also have with Windows 10. Edge is looking at the future of how we embrace the newer web technologies, and you're going to get the fastest, most secure experience through Edge, but still have compatibility with Internet Explorer. One of the other things is we looked at how people use the browser, and a lot of people will be looking for information and then perhaps sharing it with other people. And we've made that experience really enjoyable with Windows 10. So here in the Edge browser, I'm looking at the Scan website. A number of my colleagues are looking at new hardware for Windows 10. And I can see that there is the acclaimed 3XS systems here from Scan. And I want to make people aware of this. So what I can do is quickly switch into an ink annotation mode. I can go and choose my pen, and I can just highlight this and say that this is cool. Want. So I think that that's the message that I want to send. And then I can just hit the share button. Now I can just share that with Mail, Twitter, save it as a note in OneNote, and share that with my colleagues. So a completely immersive way of actually interacting with web content and sharing that seamlessly straight from the new Edge browser. So this is Edge, just part of the enhanced experience that we're bringing to Windows 10. So I've got my new desktop experience, I've got my new browser experience, we've got modern applications, but we've also got something else. We've got a personal assistant, and this I think is something that's going to surprise quite a few people. Now I'm going to just talk to my computer, not in a crazy person kind of way, but hopefully bring Cortana to life. So hey Cortana, what time is it in New York?
Right now, it's 10:11 a.m. in New York.
That's pretty good. Let's see if we can use my personal assistant to help me with something else. Hey Cortana, remind me to call Kate tomorrow at 4 p.m.
All right, I'll remind you to call Kate at 4 p.m. tomorrow. Sound good?
Yes.
Sure thing.
Cool. So now I've got a personal assistant that can remind me to call people. It can remind me when I'm next passing the supermarket to go and buy some milk. I can also, I'll give it again. Hey Cortana, show me my latest files. And we'll go and bring the files back. So, it really becomes a voice interactive experience on Windows 10. This experience spans across the phone, tablet, and PC. And we think it's going to change the way that people interact with their computer systems. So, pretty good. So that was a little bit on Cortana. There are all the sort of settings that are in here to customize it for your own specific interests, whether it be food, drink, sport, whatever it may be. And when you go to your homepage, it'll come and bring me my next reminder, bring me news that's relevant to me. It truly is a personal assistant. And it's not all work. The other aspect as well is Cortana can actually help me on some downtime things. So tell me a joke.
What did the passive-aggressive raven say? Never mind. Never mind.
I didn't say it was funny, but it can definitely bring a few jokes to your life. So yeah, a little bit on Cortana there, helping with work, helping with tasks, and helping you pass endless time telling jokes. So we've got a little bit of the user experience there. We're not going to see too much of the security capabilities as we browse, but just point a few things out. When I go and have a look at the settings here for my PC here, we'll see we've got quite a few on accounts. And you'll also notice things like work access. So if people are using their PC for business, being able to actually join their PC to their organization and set policies to manage security, that's going to be much easier as well. And if you're using a PC in a family setting, being able to set permissions for family and other users that may share the PC, we've made that a lot easier also. So quite a bit on the account settings there for users of Windows 10. One of the other pieces that often comes up is, look, it's great, I've got this fantastic operating system, there's some great new applications coming through the store, but I'm kind of creative and I want to create my own application. And so what we've done, we've brought a new developer capability through Visual Studio. When I create a universal application, I build the application once, and that application will run on my Windows 10 device. It'll also run on a Windows 10 phone, and in the world of the Internet of Things, it will also run on this, which is a Raspberry Pi 2 running Windows 10 Core for IoT. So the ability to create an application once and run across many devices is a great way of being able to create new solutions and deliver new capabilities that weren't possible before. But I know not everybody goes straight into a Visual Studio the first thing in the morning. They're not necessarily wanting to write lines and lines of code. And so we're looking at enabling people that have perhaps got skills in things like PowerPoint to also build applications. So as an example of that, here we've got something that's codenamed Sienna. It's not complete yet, but you get the idea. It looks like a slide in PowerPoint, and it allows me to drag and drop different widgets to build my application, to capture data, capture ink, camera, and so on. Now, in the spirit of all things Blue Peter, I prepared an example a little bit earlier. So I'm just going to load an application that I was working on earlier. This is a shopping example, which should be pretty straightforward. Now this is targeting being able to have a catalog for both male fashion that we see here and also female fashion. Now to give this a little bit more of a wow factor, what I want to do is to be able to enable people to come up to this step up and determine the gender of the person and show them the appropriate catalog. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a camera widget to my application. So we'll just drop the camera widget in there. That's looking good. And then all I want to do is just add a little bit of a macro to this. So we'll just paste that in there. And that should be good. And now when I run the application, so we'll just run that. And I just crouch down. We'll just tap the screen. That will do some facial recognition, and it's recognized I am in fact male, which is a relief. And it's taken me to the male fashion catalog. Now, at this point, I would normally ask a colleague, a female colleague, to come and demonstrate this, but they seem to be a little bit camera shy. But you have my word as a geek that this genuinely works and was very quick and easy to create. So now anybody can create truly impressive applications using Project Sienna to target Windows, and you're good to go. So when it comes to user experience, we've addressed all the feedback that customers had around how can we provide the best of Windows 7, best of Windows 8. We've also enhanced the security in the way that people use their accounts with their PC, and we've also made it much easier to actually build and create applications so that it can satisfy your every need. And that is Windows 10.
And welcome back again. So that was James, and I think you'll agree there are quite a number of features in there which are really quite exciting for anyone who uses Windows. But a lot of you out there we know are gamers, and a lot of Scan's customers are gamers. And in terms of what it's going to do for you guys, we heard about DX12, DirectX 12. So we thought we'd get hold of someone who really knows his stuff. And we got hold of a guy called Phil Scott from Nvidia. He's the evangelist for technology all over Europe, and a man who knows a good deal about games and what goes into the making of them. So we put him on the spot and asked him a few questions about exactly what Windows 10 is going to mean for gamers.
In general, I mean, it's going to mean better games. That's the simple part of it. The games themselves will be able to do more. The experiences are going to be richer. And just generally, I think we're going to see an improvement in things like multi-GPU support. But overall, I mean, it's the next evolution, and with each evolution comes, usually comes better things. So in this case, with DirectX 12 and what it means to gamers, I think what we're going to be looking at is just very, very rich experiences, and I think that's great for everybody. The game developers themselves, I mean, for a long time, so part of my job is to actually work with game developers. And game developers, on the whole, have been asking for, lower level access to the hardware. And one of the things DirectX 12 has done has brought that to reality. So the API itself, which is what the programmer uses to talk to the hardware, has been slimmed right down. The operating system has a lot of fast paths through it, so what the programmer is asking to do actually gets to the hardware a lot quicker. But fundamentally, the big thing is the fact that the programmer has explicit control over a lot of things. So what they're able to do is be able to control, how things go. They're not having to do, go through certain predetermined paths to actually get the end result that they want to do. And it pretty much means that there is a bit more freedom as to how they actually go about doing this. Overall, I think because it's something that people have been asking for a long time, is to get really close to the actual metal of the hardware. It can only be a good thing in the end for the actual, for the game designers and the programmers to be able to just, let it go and have a go with, really, really fast hardware. SLI support in a lot of games is really good, and we certainly as a team, we do a lot of work to make sure that happens. But DirectX 12 also brings about explicit control of multi-GPU. What it means is the actual game engine and the game designers are actually able to have control over what resources go onto what GPUs. They're able to come up with interesting ways to actually, where they actually put things and how the data flows across the GPUs. And instead of us having to actually, come up with some magic bits to actually, make this work through profiles, the game is actually capable of now having absolutely explicit control over how the data flows in a multi-GPU situation. And again, that's something that people have been asking for a long time. And now they've actually got access to that. So multi-GPU is definitely a big part of the whole DirectX 12 and Windows 10 story. Some of the games that you will see on DirectX 12 will actually be patched versions of previous games. In general, I mean, it is a new API, so under the covers, somebody's got to do some work. But on the whole, I mean, it is just another API at the end of the day. It's a very lean API. So if somebody wants to actually do a port of something to DirectX 12, they're actually certainly capable of doing that. And certain things such as middleware, things like Unreal Engine, things like Unity, down the line, they're actually going to have the ability to export to DirectX 12. So we think that that's it's a distinct possibility that you will see DirectX 12 upgrades to existing games, but it's there's also the future-looking games as well, and I think that's where it gets really exciting. We have to look at DirectX 12 as a couple of stages. So, and DirectX 12 means different things to different GPUs. So, DirectX 12. For the current generation of GPUs, which is the Maxwell-based architectures, they are certainly fully DirectX 12 capable and compliant. So that's effectively the real DirectX 12. All the GPUs, such as Kepler and Tesla, they're able to run something which is basically DirectX 11 on DirectX 12. So that's using DirectX 12 interfaces to the hardware, but running the DirectX 11 feature set as opposed to a DirectX 12 feature set. I mentioned earlier that Unreal Engine certainly is going to be moving over, and some of the early games that you're going to see on DirectX 12 will be Unreal Engine based games such as Fable Legends. But on top of that, there's things like Unity are going to move over, and there's plenty other games as well, games and game engines that are actually going to move over. But in terms of actual commercial engines, that's certainly two of the bigger engines that are out there that power a lot of the games that you play today. You have new ways to learn, and because you get closer to the hardware, things that the driver would have done for you in the past, obviously you're taking responsibility for that. So there are challenges to DirectX 12 over and above the learning, and there are certain things like best practices. So things that you would do for our hardware may be slightly different for somebody else's hardware. And that has to be taken into account, and that's the sort of thing that would have been abstracted away in a driver. Whilst there still is a driver on DirectX 12, it's a much more slimline driver, and the game developer actually takes responsibility for the actual update, and should new things happen. So that in itself is both great, because the game developer is in charge of their own destiny, but also comes an air of responsibility for that as well. But we're working with all the game developers to make sure that all the learning is spread, and all of the difficulties and any humps that are along the way are actually overcome. One of the things that you could really think about as a new feature really is actually the explicit control of multi-GPU. So whilst multi-GPU isn't new in itself, actually just having that absolutely explicit control over multi-GPU really is something that's kind of new and exciting. Beyond that, we're looking at sort of more actual features that are in the hardware itself, and certainly Maxwell has that ability to expose that. So there are different feature levels that are in DirectX 12 as well, and Maxwell supports all of those. So yes, there are new features, and you're going to see game developers do some really interesting things with them, and certainly we've got some interesting things cooking up, which I think people will get very excited about.
So thank you to Phil, thank you to James, and thank you to you for watching. We hope you've enjoyed this webinar on Windows 10. The chat room's still open, so if you have any other questions that you want to ask, please feel free to pop along there and ask them, and our team of experts will try and answer them for you. If you're watching this on archive, you could send any of your questions to webinar@scan.co.uk, and we'll try and answer them from there as well. So all it remains to say is, on behalf of Scan and on behalf of Microsoft and Nvidia in this case, thank you very much for watching, and we hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.